With the coronavirus pandemic, our lives have been forced to significantly shift into a new digital world. Globally, companies have been attempting to keep employees working remotely or from home in order to reduce the unnecessary exposure that may increase the number of infections. And while we too are embracing this new way of working in the digital age, we found ourselves adopting some new strange habits when we were on meetings with colleagues and clients, awkwardly waving at the end of a virtual call. And once dropping the call, wondering if this was one of the most unprofessional things that we could have done. So why does our hand suddenly have a mind of its own? And how did we adopt this new behavior? When we join virtual meetings, we suddenly have a new way of working, more different than you think. On virtual meetings, we have suddenly become a lot more self-conscious, awkward, and less connected. This is because we can now see ourselves interacting with others on a virtual meeting. So how does this impact our behavior to suddenly want to wave to people at the end of a virtual meeting? It all comes down to human connection that we generally experience in our interactions with others. Freud, who was the founder of the psychodynamics theory in psychology, believes that our unconscious mind drives our conscious behaviors. Ultimately, he believed that no behavior is ever an accident, and everything we do, even by accident, is driven by an unconscious motive. Now, you may have heard people speaking about the iceberg analogy in understanding this concept. If we think of an iceberg in water, on the surface of the water, we only visibly see the tip of the iceberg. This can be compared to individual behaviors that are visibly being shown to us by others. However, just as an iceberg has a massive mass below the surface of the water that is not visible, so too we have unconscious behaviors below the surface, driving our conscious behaviors, such as our beliefs, assumptions, perceptions, values, emotions, traditions, and thought patterns, sometimes without even realizing it. The iceberg theory ultimately explains why our conscious behaviors is ultimately driven by unconscious motives. Now, when we are face-to-face in a meeting with someone, we either consciously or unconsciously leverage from non-verbal communication to signal the end of the meeting. A famous study conducted in 1971 found that 93% of communication meaning is deduced from non-verbal communication, with only 7% of meaning attained from words, 38% from vocal elements, and 55% through our other elements, such as facial expressions, postures, and gestures. More recent studies have indicated that determining the impact of non-verbal communication is extremely difficult. However, results still vary from between 60 to 93%. With in-person meetings, behaviors such as closing our notebooks or laptops, packing up our things into our bags, or even checking our watch may signal the end of the meeting. Ultimately, our discomfort of being more self-conscious of seeing ourselves online, the awkwardness we may feel of the unknown social rules of virtual meetings, and lacking the emotional need for human connection has driven this new tip of the iceberg behavior to non-verbally communicate connection in the best way we know how, with a wave. So until next time, a big thank you to everybody who supports the channel. And as always, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.
Honest.